For joining today. Today our presentation is on diverse perspectives within racial justice. Thank you to our speakers Kirby Briggs and Alex Burgos for being here today. And I also wanted to thank President Conway Turner and Provost Mayrose for joining us today and for your support for Bengals Dare to Care 2020. President Conway Turner, I know you just hopped on and I didn't know if you would like to say anything before we begin and introduce our speakers.
Well, certainly I'd like to say I'm happy to join you today, and it looks like a really exciting presentation. I'm looking forward to it. This is a really exciting time for our country right now as we pivot into 2021 in just a month and a half. So there's been a lot of jubilation, and I think this conversation is a really important one for us to have as we make that transition. So thank you for joining us, and I'm so happy that I'm able to sit in and be a part of it. Thanks for.
Thank you for joining us today. So just some real quick technical things before we introduce our speakers. So over on the right-hand side on the Blue Jeans app, you're going to see people. That's a list of everyone here in the session today. The chat, you can chat with everybody. You can ask questions for our speakers that they will answer at the end of the session. And then you can also direct message myself as a host, Tanya Ackley, and Talia Rodriguez as moderators to help kind of smooth things along. And then over in the settings section, over on the right-hand side, if you scroll to about the middle, there's a place where you can turn closed captioning on if you need that assistance today. So I'm going to turn it over to Talia Rodriguez to introduce our speakers.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to introduce our speakers. I'm going to read their bios. Alex Burgos is a staff person at the MOCHA Center that was founded in 1996 as the Men of Color Health Awareness Project. The MOCHA Center has worked to educate Black and Latino men in Rochester and Buffalo. Alex is dedicated to advocating the conditions of these communities and has vocally advocated for a change in the community, both inside our Latino community and outside our community. Kirby Briggs is a graduate of Buffalo Public Schools and a SUNY Buffalo State. She is 27 years old and was born with a rare physical disability that limits the movement in her left arm. Kirby began the journey of starting an advocacy group for Black and Brown children living with disabilities in the city of Buffalo called Kirby's Korner. Sorry guys, I have my little guy with me at home, but I am so excited to welcome our guests and equally excited to be present here for this conversation today.
So, hi everyone. Just want to go over some agreements for the session today. And so we want to remain respectful of one another and the presenters during the session. We just have a few session agreements that we'd like your help to ensure that we uphold. A few of those agreements are: 1, that we agree to stay focused on the topic at hand. 2, that we agree to respect each other's experiences, identities, and opinions. Verbal, written, or physical displays of harassment, hate speech, or disrespect will not be tolerated. 3, we agree to support each other's creativity. 4, we agree that we need each other. And 5, we agree that what will happen in the session stays in the session. So thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Tanya. And without further ado, we'll turn it over to Alex Burgos.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alex. It's such an honor to be in the presence of so many brilliant minds from Buffalo State College, as well as the president. I want to thank Talia Rodriguez for including me in this and extending out the opportunity. And without further ado, let's get started. Diverse perspectives within racial justice. I'm going to be covering these diverse perspectives from an LGBTQ+ standpoint. Welcome to today's presentation. So today's presentation is going to be broken down into 4 sections. First, being an introduction of myself and what I do. The second, being an introduction of the MOCHA Center Buffalo and what the organization does. And then I want to speak on LGBTQ, people of color, and diversity. And I want to give a closing remarks speech when we're done. So this is me. My name is Alexandre Burgos. My pronouns are he, him, his. I'm 22 years old, and I'm from Buffalo, New York. I was born and raised in Buffalo, and I'm the son of a military veteran and business owner and a lifelong educator. Additionally, I am currently pursuing my BA in psychology from SUNY Empire State College. I work full-time as a health educator for the MOCHA Center Buffalo. During my free time, I enjoy traveling, learning about other cultures, cooking, and uplifting the voices of others. What I do and why. As stated earlier, I'm a health educator at the MOCHA Center Buffalo. What brought me to this line of work was my strong desire to create a meaningful difference in the lives of the disenfranchised. I am also aware that passing my knowledge and life experience to help others is the greatest gift I can give, and I want to inspire others with the work. In the fall of 2018, I traveled to Greece and went to Santorini. Though most people go there to visit the tourist attractions, something drew me towards wanting to visit the true inhabitants of the Santorini Islands. That took me to the village of the island of Thracia. Upon arrival, I was surprised by the immense poverty and suffering that was so prevalent compared to the tourist areas on the main island. I got to speak to many people there, including a family at a small family-owned restaurant. Though at that moment it seemed like they had nothing and I had everything in this world, I was reminded of the universal force that is kindness that binds us all. And I understood that we are all inextricably intertwined. We are all really just roots from the same tree of life. For me, this time was such a pivotal moment in my spiritual transformation. And I knew in those moments that I needed to be the change that I wanted to see in this world. So I want to talk a little bit about what a health educator does. So the first thing I do is program management. I run several programs within the organization that fulfill various grants in the New York State Department of Health. I also conduct research and provide educational workshops for community members, staff, government organizations, educational institutions, and corporate and executive boards. Another thing I do in my job is service delivery. So service delivery includes digital and in-person outreach, marketing through various social media platforms, networking with people in the community and professional world, and linking people to the services at the MOCHA Center and Trillium Health locations or our partner organizations. As a health educator, I also provide HIV and STI testing for clients. While doing these tests, we also do intakes and risk assessments to gather data and link these clients to various sexual health services, mental health services, or other essential services they may need. The last part of my job is administrative work. This includes compiling and reporting program and service data in electronic databases and/or electronic medical recording. Furthermore, this recording data is used for grant delivery purposes. And the most important part of my job is serving the community and bridging barriers to care for underserved populations. What is the MOCHA Center? The MOCHA Center connects LGBTQ+ people of color with events and programs that promote healthy, sex-positive living. They are a safe space to hang out, talk, get inspiration, and receive support. Founded in 1996, the MOCHA Center has worked to educate Black and Latino men in Rochester and Buffalo about living a sex-positive life. Over the years, the mission and people they work with have grown. In 2015, the MOCHA Center became part of the Trillium Health family. They've turned into a community health center that offers both community and health in equal amounts, providing a safe space to network, socialize, and address any health issues that the community faces. The MOCHA Center offers educational programming geared towards LGBTQ+ people of color, HIV, HCV, and STI testing by appointment, and access to PrEP/PEP and additional supportive services. Let's discuss diversity. I want to start with talking about LGBTQ+ people of color. About 39% of LGBTQ+ adults identify as people of color. 15% identify as Latino, 11% identify as Black, 2% as Asian, and 1% as Native American. This is more diverse than the overall U.S. adult population, which is 65% white. With increasing acceptance of LGBTQ plus people, younger generations are more likely to be out as LGBTQ plus, and younger people are more likely to be a person of color, which is the main reason that a large proportion of people of color identify as LGBTQ plus. There is a need to respond to demographics in the U.S. that are growing more and more diverse than the generations before us. I also want to talk about some statistics regarding LGBTQ people of color. 1 in 5 youth in the juvenile justice system identify as LGBTQ+. 85% of those are people of color. LGBTQ+ people of color face high rates of unemployment and poverty. 15% of LGBTQ+ adults that are also Black are unemployed. 14% of Latino LGBTQ+ adults are unemployed. And that is compared to 8% of the general population. It's disproportionately high. Men of color who sleep with other men continue to make up a majority of new HIV and AIDS infections in the US, with Black men accounting for 39% of 2014 HIV diagnoses among men who have sex with men, and Latino men accounting for 24%. Why is diversity important to me? If you've ever walked into a room, a crowded room at that, and have been the only person that looks like yourself, you know what it feels like. It's a feeling that can't be described, but only felt. Sadly, for a lot of my life, I've had to suppress both of my identity as a Latino or my gay identity as a means of survival to survive in those kinds of rooms. I never want anyone to have to feel that way or have to experience that. And so I understand and know the importance of fostering environments of diversity and inclusion as they bring new ideas and experiences so people can learn from each other. Diversity is one of the greatest gifts of life, and being surrounded by diversity expands your viewpoints. It challenges the views that you've grown accustomed to. This leads to being more open, being more understanding, and more importantly, being more accepting of others. To those who continue to walk into these crowded rooms where you're the only person that looks like yourself, remember that there are countless other people that have come before you and countless other people that are also walking into those rooms. You are never, ever walking into those rooms alone. I want to conclude by giving a closing remark. And it's very near and dear and personal to me. And I just want to say it's very fitting of the times that we're living in a time where we feel very disconnected from each other and in our culture, and things can feel more separated than ever. I believe that it's in the middle of our voyages as humans that things start to feel both beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Without memories or recollections of what has happened before us, what even is our concept of life? How would logic even exist in the first place, and how would we know how to move forward? Looking back in the past can bring both fond memories of happiness and joy, and yet at the same time, looking back in the past too much can also destroy you. Looking towards an uncertain future can both be exciting and terrifying at the same time. When I think about the obstacles ahead of me, I feel like life is asking the impossible, and I get scared. In order to do hard things, we have to be willing to believe in magic. I believe that this magic is truly seen and felt when we overcome these difficult obstacles. I also believe in the power of kindness, the universal healer and the driving connective force behind everything I do. The dysfunctional systems of life almost work like the calm before a storm. It's unassuming and unexpected. I think even when you believe in a force much bigger than yourself, it's important to accept that life will be difficult. But many difficult moments are followed by revelations. It's strange how this has been one of the best years for my career and my education, and yet one of the worst in my personal life. It's strange how I'm asked to speak at so many different places because people want to hear what I say, when I felt my entire life I've been silenced and told not to speak. I think it's strange that people all congregate together to come see me, and quite frankly, sometimes I look in the mirror and I don't even see myself anymore. I used to think that from many points in my life, I felt so much hurt and sadness that that's all I was a reciprocal for pain and misery to cycle through. And I know in my mind that I would rather that not be the case. And I also have learned over life that pain can be a teacher if you allow it to be. And I believe that it's when we hit our lowest points in our lives that we are subject to the greatest change. This has not been an easy year for a lot of people, but what I see in the world is an abundance of bravery and courage, from the people who protested for Black lives to the essential workers who provided us with necessary goods and services during a global pandemic. To everyone watching right now, I know we're separated and our country is so divided, but I know that a change is coming. I believe that the fury for unity will inspire you. I believe that the rage caused by inequality will empower you. But most of all, I believe that there isn't anything you can't do if you don't believe in yourself. Before I wrap things up, I want to express my utmost gratitude. First and foremost, I would like to thank my family who have given me absolutely everything in life, and I would just be nowhere without them. I don't even know how to express my gratitude for them. And I would like to thank Talia Rodriguez for always extending out so many wonderful and incredible opportunities to me. I would like to thank Buffalo State College for hosting Bengals Dare to Care Day. And I would like to thank all of you for coming to support and hear what I have to say and learn about the work that the MOCHA Center is doing for our community, especially for our LGBTQ plus communities of color. So thank you so much.
You, Alex, that was tremendous.
Thank you.
So, Alex, I see that we have a question in the chat. Are you prepared to answer questions?
Yes, absolutely, sure.
Okay, so our first question would be, how do you see current political climate and upcoming changes affecting the LGBTQ community?
That is a very
recording is on.
I think, you cannot address barriers to care if you are not willing to have a conversation about politics. And I think being apathetic and indifferent towards the current political climate is very dangerous for marginalized communities. I personally, over the course of the past 4 years, have felt very scared about where our country is headed, culturally, politically, and socially, for LGBTQ plus communities and other marginalized communities. But as I stated earlier, I believe that change is coming. And I see an abundance of hope. I see an abundance of celebration occurring right now. I see just that. I see unity happening, and I feel like our country will no longer be as divided as it was over the course of the past 4 years, and we will come together and heal, and not only heal, but prosper.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks for the question. Great question.
Of course. Did we have any other questions, ladies, on Facebook coming through?
Not at the moment, but I know we're going to turn it over to Kirby in just a second. So if anybody is watching either here on Blue Jeans or on Facebook, you can leave a question in the chat. We'll come back to the end and make sure that both Kirby and Alex are able to answer your question. And if you're watching on Facebook and you don't have a Facebook login, you can email the Civic and Community Engagement Office. That's CCE, so elephant at buffalostate.edu, and we'll get the questions to either Kirby or Alex or both.
Thank you, Aurora.
We do have some comments in the chat, Alex, just letting you know, a lot of thank yous and, thank you for sharing your story.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming and hearing what I have to say. Thank you so much. I see that there's another question. Does MOCHA work with just youth or adults? MOCHA works with anybody that walks through our doors. We strive to make sure that anyone that's walking through our door that has ever felt disenfranchised or unheard is met with respect and love and kindness. So we work with anyone that walks through our doors that's in need of help. Currently, though, because of COVID-19, we are closed and only open for HIV testing by appointment only. But of course, you can connect with any of our staff members or with us through social media if you do need those additional supportive services.
Thank you so much, Alex. And MOCHA is on Instagram. I know this because I found you guys.
Did you ring the doorbell on our Instagram?
Not yet. There is a funny story about me showing up to MOCHA House and ringing the doorbell, which is a telltale way to indicate that you don't know what's going on. So, Alex, thank you for reminding me of that, and thank you for always making me feel comfortable in your space. And thank you for sharing your journey with us. I just want to be able to give the floor to Kirby and then remind everyone that we may have time for questions at the end.
So much.
Okie doke. Well, thanks, Talia. My name is Kirby Briggs. I am the founder of, can you all hear me great? Okay. I'm the founder of a nonprofit, Kirby's Korner, Kirby's Korner Incorporated. So first, I would just love to say thank you to Talia and Aurora, who has absolutely helped me so much with the fruition and everything with Kirby's Korner, and then President Dr. Conway Turner for Dare to Care. So we're going to start off with an icebreaker. I don't love icebreakers, but I think that this is a good way to set the tone. So I'm going to put myself on mute. And what I'd like you to do is to try to figure out what I'm saying. And there's something to it. So I'm just going to say a sentence. I'll say it one time, and then I'll say it twice. And then if you think you have it, write it in the chat and let me know what you think. All right? So here we go. Okay. So I got some folks saying, okay, oh, y'all good at this. Oh, okay. So a lot of the people in the chat got It's a Beautiful Day. So you are correct. That was It's a Beautiful Day. And though Kirby's Korner right now only works with those with physical disabilities or intends to work with those with physical disabilities, I think it's important for us to understand that people with disabilities have to learn to adapt to whatever lifestyle they choose. Well, not that they choose, not always get to choose, obviously, but they have to learn to adapt. They have to make it happen in the best way that they can. And that's what our friends in the deaf community feel. So I will share my screen. Everybody see my wonderful presentation? Alex, can you give me a thumbs up? I can only see you. Can you see my presentation, Alex? Perfect. Thank you. Love the energy. Appreciate it. So it's a beautiful day. And it is in November in Buffalo, right? So that worked. So again, diverse perspectives for Kirby's Corner is we work with Black kids who are living every single day with disabilities. And that's the goal. So that's our hashtag, Black Kids Living with Disabilities. So I started our nonprofit last year in 2019. It's been a hope of mine to do it for years, 5 years, and I just went on a whim and tried it last year, and things have really gone amazing, and I'm just really appreciative to share my story and help other people share their same story. So here's a video.
Kirby. I was 12 years old when I found out. Since then, I have Kirby's Corner Incorporated. Developed programming. According to the United States Census, more than 36% of Buffalo's population are minority, are disabled. We are dedicated to encourage, empower, and inspire our youth and their families. To learn more, please follow us at kirbyscornerincorporated.org.
So that's just a little snippet of what we do. So the idea about Kirby's Corner is to just bridge the gap that leaves our families and kids and youth who are black and brown to build a gap to bring us closer together. So like Alex, the MOCHA Center brings our LGBTQ community together to a sense of pride, a sense of togetherness, a safe space, and that's what we want to do here. There are different organizations that do that in different spaces, so maybe autism and things of that sort, but Kirby's Corner is open to that. But there's not always programming in the city of Buffalo. There's places maybe in the suburbs, in different places. You have to go far, and we know that there's not a social economic status for disability. Our families need to be able to access programming in spaces and not always in the school setting, but as a family. There are parents who deal with different things. Our families, our siblings are dealing with the disability in the household, and we want to make this a family atmosphere. So we bridge the gap with Kirby's Corner. So like I said, we want to build mentorship. We want to do workshops for those kids who have disabilities in their families, but also the idea is to teach peers and our youth without disabilities to learn to be accepting, to be kind, and and learn to be more helpful to those who have disabilities. I can't even count how many stories and how many times we've done it ourselves where we may stop and stare or question or be concerned when we see people who are different, who look different, and we want to teach our youth and the peers of our youth how to be inclusive of that. We know that disabilities do not discriminate. You can be old, you can be young, you can be middle-aged. Races and ethnicity does not discriminate, and neither should you, right? And with that, we want to be sure that you can be born with it, like I was, or you can wake up tomorrow and have something tragic happen to you. You can have something tragic happen to you and totally change the trajectory of your life. So we want to be mindful of those kind of things and being kind and being helpful. We know that those kind of things are just not, that's not for everyone. So I will say a snippet about my story. When I was born with a small knot on my forearm, in which my parents had no idea what it was. And as time progressed, I finally had surgery when I was 3 to remove this knot. And the knot then grew stems and affected my forearm, my fingers, and my wrist, in which it contracted my wrist downward, so I could not open my hand. So at that moment, as a child, and my parents I had surgery at 3 years old. From the time that I was 3 until the time I was 12 years old, I did not have a disability at all. it ended up the stems that they did remove ended up growing back. And when they grew back when I was 12, I went back into the same formation of the can't open my hand and descending wrist and hand motion, in which I still am here now. So that's my story. So we know that tomorrow, knock on wood, someone will get into a car accident and will, just totally change the way they are access to their body. So I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my team of loyal, team members. They are all very well versed and diverse in our hopes to grow and build and be more diverse. My parents are the two in the middle, and some of my very close colleagues and friends. So some of my inspiration that built upon Kirby's Korner is I used to work at a dance studio in which they offered dance ability classes and cheer. There's only one other organization like that in Buffalo, and it's in Williamsville. Base is in Buffalo, almost in the downtown Buffalo on Main Street, which Kirby's Korner is big on access. So access meaning if you drive, cool, but if you need public transportation, that works in that neighborhood. And that's what inspired me to help there. And then my friend here in this picture, I love him so much. He came to my school. I work at a school, and he was a refugee of ours, and he was new to the country and our school, and he didn't speak English. He had this disability, and like Alex said, you walk into a place that's not like you. Totally not like you. What do you do? And me and this little guy became so good friends, him and a team of us, that it was just also very heartbreaking because we couldn't help him in the setting that we had. He needed his own particular setting. And so though school is a very important place to have that, we don't always, it's an education more setting more than a social emotional setting, and that's what Kirby's Korner is supposed to be more about. It's supposed to be the social emotional setting for the youth and their family. So here are the facts. There's 10% of the world's population has a disability. In America, there's 12.6 Americans who live with disabilities. And there's 1 in 4 U.S. adults which is 61 million Americans who have a disability, and 7 are affected by mobility. So I said before, Kirby's Korner, I want to start off with the social emotional aspect of it with physical, because that is all I really am well versed in, obviously, for my life. So 1 in 7 of our peers are affected by mobility. And so in Buffalo, we have 12.6, 60 under the age of 65. Under the age of 18 years old, there's 29% who have a disability. And then back to the BPS, like my student before, 21% of Buffalo schools students learn with disabilities. So we have to be also very mindful of our students who have special needs in the learning aspect of education too. And then how early, because that totally affects how, of course. And I love to talk about learning disabilities, but that's conversation for another day. So that's our facts in the United States, the world, and in Buffalo. So why only Black and brown kids? It's all about representation. Everything is about what our Black and brown kids see, and positive lights and negative lights. It's about representation. We want to be able to represent, I want to be able to represent a Black woman with a disability in a way that children can look up to and see, if she can do it, I can do it. And there are hard, life, I have a friend who says life be lifing, and it does. Life happens, right? And the representation that we have is so very important. So we talk about, Black little boys being basketball players, but not doctors. You feel me? And so I think that with that, we need to set a tone for our children. And so that's why Kirby's Corner matters to this community. Why Black and brown kids are so important, the representation. I want to even say that when I was looking for some of the media on this app, on this presentation, it was difficult to find brown kids. And so I think that with that in mind, I think that's why we need it more. It was difficult for me to find books with brown kids in it. It was difficult for me to find cartoons with brown family members on it. So the representation is very important. The lack of programming, like I said before, in the city of Buffalo, and then just in all media forms altogether. I think with the elect and president-elect and vice president-elect, she mentioned in her speech about representation for little brown girls, and I think that there's levels, and we want to start at the bottom here with Kirby's Corner. So just as far as our track record is concerned, we've been open for 1 year, and we've done some soft launches, we've done merchandise, we've did a contest that we went up against 64 nonprofits in the city of Buffalo and was runner-up as number 2. So I think that speaks to a lot of what we're trying to accomplish and people we're trying to reach, and I'm so grateful to be able to speak to you guys today. And in that 1 year, we raised $5,000. With that $5,000, we did our first inclusive Halloween trunk or treat event. So there were people there that had children with disabilities who felt comfortable and safe to bring their child with a disability to our Halloween event. Not always do you know that can happen if you know someone with a child with a disability, or if you know yourself, that sometimes it's hard for those family members to want to bring their child into a space as that. And that was specifically for them. So in our 1 year, we did that, and I'm grateful that we can bring and keep creating spaces for our kids in that manner. So like I said, we worked with Buffalo Arts Extreme with cheer and dance. We've worked with Candles in the Sun, another local nonprofit that has saves their neighborhoods with feeding and things. We've worked with the Hampton Inn. We've served over 100 families, 2 events, and we've done a lot of fundraising.
Korner allows our kids.
So this is just an affirmation that I was working on with some of my friends and staff. I think that is very important that we all speak positive light into us, but I think, and children especially, but I think with sometimes what we think a disadvantage is with our children, we need to do that even more. So some affirmations, if you know one, if you don't do it yourself, is really important to speak things into existence, manifest those things of who you are, what you want to be. And so here's a little infomercial that we did.
Korner allows our kids to realize that their potential is limitless, powerful, abundant. They are inspiring, resilient. Kirby's Corner allows.
So I would love to thank you all for coming. I appreciate you guys listening to my story and what I'm trying to do. Please follow us on our social media and stay connected and keep us updated on everything, anything, and keep up with us. I actually am working on publishing my children's book. It is called ABC Disability, and it's about representation with Black and brown kids with disabilities. So I hope that you will stay tuned and look into that so that we can be in touch and help wherever we can. So thank you, guys.
Kirby, thank you. That was tremendous. And I just want to say how proud we are of you as a Buffalo State alum. I see that there is a question that we had in the chat, but I may have lost it. But just a comment that folks are really excited to read your book. And the president wants to know, do you work with schools? Sometimes typical kids are unkind to atypical kids. how can we help Kirby's Corner? And how can
So I do
Kirby's
work.
Corner help? Sorry.
I work for Say Yes Buffalo. Woo woo, I love it so much, and I work in a public school. And so yes, I work with children every day. It is definitely something that I am working on building a curriculum on, so that not only are we working on socially emotional ideas and concepts for our kids with disabilities, but working on that inclusive nature for kids without disability. And that is definitely in the works. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
Kirby, thank you. And just some more comments. Amazing work. Can't wait for the book. And they want to know, are there any opportunities for students to volunteer or for those to work for you?
So I love all that. As far as volunteering, I would love if you could just send me an email, write me on Instagram, Facebook, send a message to the sky. I will take all of that. I usually don't have volunteers as of yet, unless there's certain events, but I love to keep people in the loop, and you can subscribe to our website, and I will definitely can be in touch with you in that way. I especially would appreciate that. As far as employees, I am still a free worker myself. So I'm just glad that I have this passion and fire under my butt that like really just keeps me going. So that's for now. Absolutely stay tuned. I appreciate that. Yeah. Any other questions? I also am a major in exceptional education at Buff State right now. So it's all about the kids. So
And a great graduate of our leadership program, might I add, Kirby. Thank you.
thank you, Talia. So if there's not any questions, unless we have more Aurora for Alex and I.
Yeah, there's a couple. Someone asked, what kind of organizations, Kirby, do you like collaborate with and reach out to? I know you mentioned a couple of things, but who are you kind of working with to help advertise and put on Kirby Corner's events and getting the word out about your organization?
It's just me and my team now. Like I said, I'm 1 year old as of September. So a lot of learning, a lot of networking still has still very much have taken me a long way. Anybody who wants to work with me, I'm pretty much open to, with the idea of keeping our kids in mind, keeping people say all money isn't good money. Like, I don't want to be represented in a way with certain organizations that don't put the kids first. That's what it is about. So I'm absolutely open to working with anyone who would like to. I haven't reached as far as I would like, but like I said, working it out.
That's great. So we did get a couple more questions in the chat. So Kirby will ask you this one question, and then we do have 2 questions for you, Alex. Was the program for Kirby's Corner difficult to start, and what's your major here at Buffalo State? Or what was your major too as an undergrad?
Yeah. So as an undergrad, I started, I had a fun education life too. I started off at Damon, transferred to Buff State, went to education, went to undecided, went to, graduated with, I can't even think of what it, education ultimately. Buff State offers a program where you can build your own major. And so the program that I built my own major in a way that I can ultimately start this. And so it was about, I took education classes, safety classes, business classes. I did the whole shebang. So that's how I graduated, because I kind of was pretty much over school, not to discourage you, but I kind of just felt like I needed to get out and get into the world. And so I was grateful enough to be accepted into the exceptional education program because I wanted to be more well versed with the children with exceptional needs. As far as starting this organization, it was just a bunch of research. New York State loves to let you run in circles, and that's what we did. We ran in circles, but if you're interested in starting a nonprofit, I would recommend just going on a New York State website. Incorporation, you can just Google incorporation or an LLC, whatever kind of business you would like, and just Google it, and it gives you like literally step by step how to do it. And then you go into the IRS, you do all that kind of jazz. If you're interested in, I don't mind, I can help you because it was crazy. If that's something you're interested in, absolutely go on my website, kirbyscorner.inc.org, and I can try to help you as best as I can based on my own experience.
Great, thanks. And then Alex, we've got two questions that came in for you. So one is, how can students get involved in the MOCHA Center as volunteers?
Great question. Hi, Laura, how are you? So currently the MOCHA Center is closed due to COVID-19. We are only operating for HIV and STI testing. So currently we cannot have volunteers on site. However, there may be there may be digital resources that they can help us out with. So I'm going to actually write my email in the chat box. If you wanted to forward anyone that was ever interested in volunteering for us, either virtually right now or in the future when we can do things in person, it will be greatly appreciated. We've had many volunteers in the past. And, they've used it towards college internships or whatever the case may be, whatever they need it for. So volunteering is something that we do. I'm just going to write my email at the end, and people can reach out to me there.
Great, thanks. And then I'm going to combine two questions. One's kind of about recruit clients. So how do clients find out about MOCHA Center? How do people find out about MOCHA Center? What type of workshops or things do you do or did you do prior to COVID? And then kind of speaking generally about the work that you're doing here in Buffalo, and I know you're in Rochester as well with the MOCHA Center. And are there collaborations that your organization does?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer the first question from Natalia. I hope I'm saying it correctly. Most of our clients, because we were a drop-in center prior to COVID, most people would just walk in. A lot of it was word of mouth. A lot of it was social media advertising. We are part of the Trillium Health family, so a lot of people are referred from Trillium Health or our partner organizations like Evergreen. So that's typically how people find out. We did offer programming every single day prior to COVID, and now that has moved digitally. So currently we are offering weekly movie nights, Thursdays from 4 to 5. Currently we're showing the series Pose, and it's followed by a discussion, revolving around sexual health, LGBTQ experience, the POC experience. And it gives people really just a space to network and socialize with each other, even from home. And I also saw that there was a question above from Dr. Conway. Alex, do you work broader than Buffalo? Yes, we do. So there is the MOCHA Center out in Rochester. They do the same exact work that we do. There is also Trillium Health, which is based out in Rochester, which is our parent organization. We collaborate with different organizations throughout the county and the state. As I mentioned, Evergreen, and we have done a little bit of work with areas in Central New York, like Alliance for Positive Health. And we're open to collaboration with anyone. Currently, also, we have expanded our at-home HIV testing services and condom and safe sex material services through all of New York State. So if you know anyone in New York State that's in need of at-home HIV or STI testing or safe sex materials that's delivered, it's completely free. They don't even need to go through insurance. that is also available for anyone in New York State. Were there other questions?
I was just scrolling through the chat to see if there were any other ones. I think we've answered all of them. I don't know. Tanya, I know you were copying and pasting. Did you have any other questions that hadn't gotten answered?
There was one more in the chat for, I guess, Alex and I that I just seen. I'm not sure if you guys seen it. It says, how is the Black Lives Matter movement locally and nationally influenced or impacting your efforts and your clients? So I will say that the Black Lives Matter movement is just that, a movement, and I think that's something that we live with every single day. And I think with that in mind, I don't necessarily have clients similar to Alex, but I think that is absolutely something that we have to keep in mind and be strong on. I don't think that it affects Kirby's Korner per se, because I think that we, as a team, I should say, because I can't speak for our children, but and our youth that we have worked with. But I think that it is just something that you're doing it day by day and you're working with it. But it's also an empowerment movement and empowering for us to work together and even feel even more pride and in this space. I think that a lot of the times that the Black Lives Matters movement can come with naysayers and negativity, and I think that we also had as a Black woman, it's an empowering movement, and I think that all we can keep doing is moving forward and making it happen. It's not going to stop the show. It's just going to keep us moving forward. What about you, Alex?
Great answer, first of all. And, I think that, as Kirby stated, I don't necessarily like the word movement only because that insinuates some sense of temporary action when, for people that are Black, brown, and people of color, this is a lived experience that they have. This is generations of historical trauma that is only now being addressed on a mainstream platform, but has been so discussed and has been so unheard for generations. I think that the Black Lives Matter movement has definitely amplified the MOCHA Center. We've seen an influx not only in donations, but also awareness of the work that we do. And I hope that it's not merely just a trend, but it's something that continues on for, all of our lives to come, that we all come together in every way that we can to dismantle a system that has left, Black people oppressed for generations. I think there's another question. Alex, do you and your organization have any protests planned with the new Supreme Court elect? The MOCHA Center does not take any political stances. However, we do, bridge all barriers to care and all social disparities that the communities we serve face. Is this program only available to men, or are there other programs that women are referred to, say, if they come to your program looking for services? Yeah, so the MOCHA Center is open to anyone. So, even though we were founded originally for Black and Latino gay men, that has expanded as our client base is so much more diverse. We serve women, we serve trans individuals, etc. So even though we mostly focus just on the testing and prevention side of things, we do refer them to our partner organizations, whether that be Evergreen. And they can also go through Trillium Health, which is our partner, which is our parent organization. So where there's a will, there's a way. If you need something, we got it.
So I was going to ask you, Alex, because I do have a question for children who may identify with different sexuality. What do you need from parents so that I can have on my radar for my own kids at my, outside of Kirby's Corner, what do they need, parents and families, what do they need and to reach out for support and things of that sort? Because I'm sure legally you can't necessarily work with our minors. So how do we work that out, and how do we encourage them to seek out MOCHA Center?
So actually, because we are under Trillium Health's nonprofit status, we technically are a federally qualified lookalike center. So we can serve people, I believe, as young as 14. But anyone that walks through our doors can be served in terms of the drop-in center. We cannot say that they can't come in. But in terms of receiving direct services, we can serve people as young as 14. The only thing we can't do is refer them to things like prep services, which do require you to either be 18 or get parental consent. I think, in the communities we serve, it's particularly hard because there isn't as much acceptance. It's still very new. I know, especially, like, I can speak for the Latino community, where there are cultural and education barriers and language barriers, all sorts of gaps. Sometimes, parents are not as well as equipped as they could be to support their child. And, that by no means do I want to pathologize anyone. I really think that everyone truly does the best that they can. But, that's where we come in to provide additional support for their children, for youth, for kids who are at risk of being homeless, who are, living in very hostile situations. We're there to support anyone if they need that support or just want to become better people.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you so much.
Thank you both for being here, and I just want to say how fantastic it is to see two SUNY students having such an impact on the community, and thank you guys for joining us and sharing your lived experience and your advocacy with us. We're just elated to have you guys be part of the Buffalo State community.
Thanks so much, Talia.
Thank you, guys. This was fun.